Most coaches never reflect properly on their sessions. I know because I was one of them. 20 years of coaching, and I can count on one hand the number of times I sat down and properly thought about what happened, why it happened, and what I should change. I'd finish training and think, that went all right, or that was a disaster. I'd drive home, get wrapped up in the next life task, and forget most of the session. Even worse, I'd plan next week's session from a vague memory of what happened this week. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. Reflection is the single most effective thing you can do to improve as a coach. More than courses and more than reading books, in my opinion. Even more than watching other coaches, because your reflection is specific to you, your players, and your context. Nobody else can do it for you, but nobody teaches you how to reflect. FA courses mention it, CPD frameworks require it. But the practical sit down and do this part, missing. In this video, I'm going to give you a simple system for reflecting after every session, using AI to spot patterns you'd never notice on your own. By the end, you'll have a practical method you can start using after your next training session. And I've built a tool specifically for this called Coach Reflection, which I'll show you. But the method works with ChatGPT, Claude, or any AI tool. It's the system that matters, not the tool. Let's get into it. So why don't coaches reflect? Well, for me, there are three main reasons as to why not. Reason one, time. After training, you've got cones to pack, parents and guardians to talk to, a car to load, a family to get home to. Sitting down to write about what happened feels like homework. Reason two, no structure. Even if you wanted to reflect, what do you actually think about? How was training is too vague to be useful. Without specific questions to answer, reflection becomes just thinking, and thinking without structure doesn't lead to change. Reason three, no feedback loop means isolated reflection. You can reflect once and it's mildly useful, but one reflection doesn't show you patterns. Patterns only emerge over weeks and months, and nobody is going to manually review 30 reflections and spot the common threads. AI can solve all three. It solves the time problem as it only takes 2 minutes. That's all it takes if you have structured questions to answer. Structure no longer becomes an issue, as I am going to give you 5 specific questions that cover everything that matters. And artificial intelligence can help you build a feedback loop to review your reflections over time and show you patterns you'd never spot yourself. Let me show you the system. Asking yourself 5 questions after every session or match takes about 2 minutes. Question 1. What worked well today? This is your positive capture. What went according to plan? What did you see that you want to see again? What pleased you? These are the questions you need to think about and answer. But be specific. The session went well tells you nothing when you read it back in 3 months' time. The passing triangle drill clicked by the 3rd repetition and players started rotating without being told tells you exactly what worked and why, especially if you tie it to the session in question via a date and time. Here's an example. The warm-up linked perfectly to the main topic. By the time we got to the technical practice, players already understood the movement pattern. The game at the end had real switching of play happening without me prompting it. Question 2. What didn't go as planned and what would you change? This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about honest observation. What would you change if you ran this session again tomorrow? Here's an example of that. The technical practice was too easy at the start. I should have introduced the progression earlier instead of letting them get comfortable. Also lost about 3 minutes setting up cones for the game-related practice. Need to plan my setup better. Question 3. Did any of your players stand out and why did they stand out? This is about individual awareness. Which players caught your eye, either positively or because they need support? If I was reflecting on this, here's an example of what I would say. Jake had his best session of the month. His weak foot passing was noticeably better. Sophie organized the defense in the game without being asked. Real leadership developing. Tom was quiet again. 3rd session in a row where he seemed withdrawn. Need to check in with him. Question 4. Which areas need more work? Looking at the squad as a whole, what do you need to address? I would reflect something like this. Receiving under pressure. When the game got tight, players reverted to safe passes rather than turning to go forward. Need to build confidence on the ball when being closed down. Question 5. What will you focus on next session? This creates accountability. You're committing to a focus before you forget. Example: start with a receiving focused warm up, build pressure gradually, carry the switching play theme, but add receiving under pressure as the technical underpinning. And then two quick ratings: your mood on a scale of 1 to 5, your energy on the same scale, and that's it. 5 questions, including the two ratings, 2 minutes, and you are done. Now, here's where AI transforms this from a journal entry into a development system. If you're using Coach Reflection, the tool I built for this, the AI assistant processes your reflection automatically. It extracts player mentions, identifies themes, tracks your mood and energy, and stores everything for long term analysis. If you're using ChatGPT or Claude, you can get similar benefits. Here's how. After you've written your 5 answers, paste them into AI with this prompt. Here's my coaching reflection from today's session. I coach under 13 boys at grassroots level. Analyze this reflection and identify the key themes, any player observations I should follow up on, one specific action I should take before next session, and how this connects to my previous reflections. If you paste in multiple reflections over time, say your last 4 or 5, then add this to the prompt. Here are my reflections from the past month. Identify any recurring patterns across these reflections. What themes keep appearing? Are there any players who are consistently mentioned? Are there any areas I keep saying I need to work on but haven't addressed yet? That last question is the killer. Things I keep saying I'll work on but haven't. We all have them. The AI will find them. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. I'll open ChatGPT and paste in 4 weeks of reflections. Let me read what I've written. Week 1, good session, passing drill worked well, Tom was quiet. Week 2, energy was low, setup took too long, Jake improved, Tom quiet again. Week 3, strong session, new warm up was excellent, receiving under pressure still needs work, Tom seems withdrawn. Week 4, solid session overall, tactical game was the best activity, need to address receiving under pressure, Tom missed training. Now I'll ask, please identify any recurring patterns across these 4 reflections from my coaching sessions. Look at what it gives me as an output. Pattern 1, Tom has been flagged in every single reflection. Quiet, then withdrawn, then missed training. This is an escalating concern that needs immediate attention. Pattern 2, receiving under pressure appears in weeks 3 and 4 as an area needing work. You haven't planned a specific session for it yet. Pattern 3, your energy was low in week 2, and your what didn't work section was longer that week. Consider whether your energy level affects how you perceive sessions. I wouldn't have spotted those patterns from memory alone, especially the energy correlation. That's the kind of insight that only emerges from data over time. Now, let me talk about common mistakes with coaching reflection. Mistake 1, only reflecting when things go badly. If you only reflect after bad sessions, your data is skewed. You need to capture good sessions too. What worked? Why? So you can repeat it intentionally rather than by accident. Reflection isn't therapy, it's data collection gold. Good sessions are just as important as bad ones. Mistake 2, being too vague. Good session doesn't help you. The warm up connected to the main topic and the small sided game had real game like pressure does help you. When you read your reflections back in 3 months, vague notes are useless. Specific notes are a goldmine. Mistake number 3 is not tracking your players individually and missing key observations. It's easy to focus on what you coached and forget about who you coached. The player standouts question forces you to think about individuals, not just topics. Over a season, your player mentions and notes tell a story. Which players get your attention? Which ones don't? Are you focusing on the vocal, confident players and missing the quiet ones? Reflection can help with this and more. Mistake 4, not using the next session focus for accountability. And the whole point of question 5 is that by next week, you can check whether you followed through or not. Did you actually focus on what you said you would? If not, why not? Without this, reflection is just thinking out loud. With this, it's a system that connects sessions to each other. Let me show you how to make this a habit. The biggest challenge isn't the reflection itself, it's doing it consistently. Here are 3 tips. Tip 1, do it immediately after the session. Not later, not tomorrow. Do it in the car park or on the drive home, but be safe and pull over. The main point is to do it while it's fresh. If you wait, you'll forget the details and it becomes harder to start. Tip 2. Use voice if typing feels like too much. Open your voice notes app and talk for 2 minutes. Answer the 5 questions out loud. You can transcribe it later or paste the audio into an AI tool. Coach Reflection has a voice notes feature for exactly this reason. You talk, the AI transcribes and processes, no typing required. Tip 3. Set a streak target. Commit to reflecting after your next 5 sessions. Not forever, just 5. See if you notice anything. If you don't find it useful after 5, stop. But most coaches who make it to 5 keep going because the patterns start to emerge. One more thing before we wrap up. Reflection isn't just for after sessions. You can reflect after matches, after parent conversations, after coach education events, after difficult moments. Anytime something happens that you could learn from, 2 minutes of structured reflection captures that learning before it disappears. I've built Coach Reflection specifically for this. It's free to start, 5 questions, 2 minutes after every session, and the AI does the pattern recognition for you. But if you don't want to use my tool, that's fine. Use the 5 questions with ChatGPT, Claude, or a notebook. The method is what matters. The link to Coach Reflection is in the description, coachreflection.com. And the 5 question framework is in the Prompts and Resources classroom inside AI Football School, completely free. If this was useful, subscribe. I'm posting weekly on AI for football coaching. And if you've tried structured reflection before, I'd love to hear how it went. Drop a comment below to let me know. See you in the next one.